Is authenticity work overrated? Yes and no. Okay. The authenticity is great, but you got to understand that authenticity has its limits. All right. And I don't want to see your worst self. Okay. If you're being authentic at the office and that means authenticity and you're an ass. Okay. If you're a pompous person, if you're a jerk, if you're moody, I don't want it. Okay. One of the great things about work is we don't have to get you stuff you bring to your poor family. Okay. So authenticity is living your values and being your true self. If you've got a weird if you've got a weird sense of humor, being allowed to, display it. If it's not inappropriate, that's okay. Okay. If you like your nail art and that's how you self-express, okay. All right. But if we're talking about your authenticity being like bringing extremely smelly food into the office that's going to make other people sick, not okay. Okay. We work in community. And so authenticity it has definitely been overused. And some people actually have very high desires for privacy. All right. In the values bridge, we talk about scope. Scope is you want a big, exciting life, but oftentimes when you have that life, you give up privacy. Okay. And some people really love privacy. They don't want anybody to know anything about them that they don't tell them. And I actually have a client who's in cybersecurity, and she knows all the things that can go wrong when people know everything about you. And she has a very high value on privacy because of the work she does. So you can't blame her, right? And so authenticity is fine within bounds, and that your bad traits and your traits that are not going to be accepted by the community in general, because they're either distasteful or deeply personal, like do not cut your fingernails at your desk. Don't do that. I don't care if it's don't put that under the rubric of authentic. That's just gross. All right. And don't do it at home. But if authenticity is, I love a certain kind of music, I'm not going to blare it in the office, but when people start talking about music, I'm going to mention it. People should have open minds and say, oh, really? I didn't know that's sort of cool music. Bring those parts of yourself that are interesting and good to work, and leave the bad parts of your authenticity to the people who love you so much that they'll tolerate them. Okay. When I talk about authenticity, though, writ large, it's about living out your values. So in other words, if you really believe in social justice as one of your values, which would be sort of a combination of radius and voice in the values bridge rubric, if social justice is, then do work that allows you to express those values, okay? And even if you work at a place like Goldman Sachs, they have ways, even at Goldman Sachs, for people to participate in activities that would fulfill their values of social justice, believe it or not. And so seek to fulfill your values, because authenticity just is not about personal habits. It's about living out your values fully and being aligned with them.